Will Lowery, I hope you're having a great day, man. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
Hey, Ryan, doing great, man. Doing great. Just gearing up for some holidays and some playoff football, man.
Hey, we were just talking about Julio Jones a couple of minutes ago, and he's getting ready to play tonight. O.J. Howard against Julio Jones, and obviously they won't be on the same field at the same time, but you had a chance to play Julio Jones. Is that the roughest wide receiver, toughest wide receiver, best wide receiver you ever had to match up against?
I could go on and on about Julio. He is every bit the freak athlete, competitor, team player, superstar. I mean, you name it. He lives up to the hype, man. That guy is incredible. I mean, he's one of the very, very rare combinations of God-given size, God-given speed, and work ethic. He's a guy that knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that he was put on this earth to be an athlete, and he took that to heart. He was a guy that did what he was supposed to do. When I was around him at Alabama, he's a guy that came to work every single day. He came to work to better himself, better his team, and to prepare himself for his future. And it's funny you ask. I was actually reading an article on the internet, I think last week, about how he kind of took to Tony Gonzalez's diet regimen when he first got into the league, and Tony was still playing tight end for the Falcons. And Julio kind of took notice of his diet and has since adopted a lot of what he did and bought into, putting only really good fuel into his body. And that just speaks to the professional that he is. He is one of a kind, man. I mean, that's the guy. You know, lining up against him was not fun because you knew you were going to get beat most of the time. If he ran a short route, a slant or a comeback, something like that, I may could stick somewhat with him. But when he catches that stride, man, he is gone. He's just an incredible athlete. It's been a lot of fun to watch him at the next level. And he's a guy, you really wouldn't think by looking at him, at least. More so now, he's put on a little bit more weight in the NFL, but especially in his college days when he had first gotten to Alabama, still pretty thin looking, still growing into that super long frame. Didn't look like a strong guy. He was benching 405 as a true freshman with 90-inch reach or whatever he's got. I mean, he's a guy, when you grab a hold of him, it's like a steel rod, man. I mean, he's bionic. I mean, he's definitely the predator, I think, on the inside. But, yeah, man, a lot of fun to watch him continue to dominate at the very highest level. And should have had a Super Bowl last year. If it wasn't for Dante and those Patriots, but he made a ton of plays, did everything he could do to put his team in a position to win it. So, would certainly love to see him get another shot to do that at some point in his career.
Yeah, and I didn't want to get you on and talk about just Julio Jones, but one of the things that I always admired about a complete wide receiver, because in the ball within his hands was great, but he also seemed like, just from judging from the outside, he was also a pretty dominant blocker out there too.
Man, there's not one thing that he doesn't do well on the football field. You could put him at running back. He'd be a tremendous running back. You could put him at linebacker, and he'd be a really good linebacker. I really do mean that. I mean, you saw him in the game last week, I guess. Matt Ryan threw a couple picks, and one of them he threw to Julio, and Julio turns around, backtracks, peels bananas around the entire field, and catches the defender without looking. I mean, decleated the guy. I mean, he almost fumbled. He does it all well, man. I saw Eric Anders, if y'all remember Anders, who played linebacker for us, and has obviously gone on to now is in the midst of an incredible run in an MMA career in the UFC. And they asked him who of the guys that he played with would make good MMA fighters, and he named Dante, Mark Barron, and Julio. And just thinking about in a combat sport like boxing or MMA or something, with his long arms and his speed, all his attributes, it's pretty incredible to think about. He's almost like he's almost like a LeBron, maybe not quite to LeBron's level if you could downplay Julio to anything, but just in that you could put him at any sport. You could put him at goalie in soccer, and I guarantee you he'd be one of the best goalies that ever lived. I mean, he's just a truly once-in-a-lifetime talent.